Raising Raw Meat and Poultry. Dean Cleaver, PhD, an Institute of Food Technologies spokesperson on food and kitchen safety, says the USDA has backed off the idea that meat and poultry should be washed or rinsed. In fact, the organization's website says there's no need to do so. Sometimes you may buy a chicken and it has salmonella. If you cook it thoroughly, it will kill it. Cleaver says washing it might spread the salmonella around. Radon gas. Radon is the radioactive gas generated in rock salt that causes lung cancer and sometimes collects in homes. The EPA says that radon is often found in water. People using wells rather than municipal water systems are at higher risk, and is released when the water is agitated, as when washing dishes. The New York Times also recently investigated radon emission from granite countertops and cited studies that found some levels to be unsafe. The gas is not detectable by sight, smell, or taste, so the EPA suggests testing for it. Hardware store sells inexpensive kits you can use to check the radon level in your home. No fire extinguisher. Do you have fire extinguisher near your kitchen? Captain Harris says you should. She even suggests that you give extinguishers as housewarming gifts. Look for extinguisher that works in Class A, ordinary combustibles, B, flammable liquids, and C, electrical fires, often called a multipurpose dry chemical extinguisher. Dirty sponges. Sponges harbor disease-causing bacteria and spread those bacteria around kitchens. A study by microbiologist Carlos Enriquez at the University of Arizona found salmonella in about 15% of the sponges examined. Dean Cleaver says that research shows that microwaving sponges for about 1 minute sterilizes them. The sponges should be wet. A dry sponge can catch fire in a microwave. Carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is another invisible, odorless gas that could be hanging around your kitchen. The EPA says at moderate levels it causes headaches, dizziness, nausea, and fainting, and at high levels it could be fatal. The gas is emitted anytime combustion appliances such as gas stoves are used, but dangerous levels only occur when these appliances are misused or misadjusted. To be safe, the EPA suggests that you have your gas range or oven inspected annually by a professional. Never use a gas oven to heat your home, and never use charcoal indoors. You can pick up carbon monoxide test kits and alarm detectors at hardware stores. Mold. The EPA says that mold exposure can cause allergies, asthma, and other respiratory problems. Mold grows in areas where moisture accumulates, such as near leaky plumbing. Check under your kitchen sink. The organization says that water damaged areas should be drained within 24 to 48 hours to prevent mold growth. If you have a mold problem, the agency recommends decreasing indoor humidity by fixing leaks, using dehumidifiers, and turning on exhaust fans whenever cooking or using the dishwasher. Overloaded circuits. The U.S. Fire Administration says that in urban areas, faulty wiring accounts for 33% of residential fires. Many avoidable electrical fires are caused by overloaded circuits. Older apartments often have few outlets, so tenants use extension cords or power strips. But this isn't safe, according to the FEMA publication Residential Building Electrical Fires. Because the heat-producing cooking appliances use a lot of power, you should be particularly careful when you plug them in. Bad storage habits in the refrigerator. The fridge is one place we ought to be paying attention, says Dean Cleaver. Don't put drippy raw stuff over the salad bar. The USDA Food Safety Inspection Service suggests placing raw meat, seafood, and poultry in sealed containers or plastic bags to prevent their juices from contaminating other foods. Leaving high heat unattended. Peg Harris says that the most important thing you can do to be safe in your kitchen is to stay close when using the high heat on the stovetop. If you must answer the door or a phone, she suggests keeping a spoon or a pot holder in your hand so you have a visual reminder to get back in the kitchen ASAP. Stove and oven hazards. Whether your stove is gas or electric, it can pose a safety risk for every member of the household. Many people have burned their hands on a hot stove or as a result of reaching into the oven without a proper oven mitt. The risk of burns, however, it is not the only reason that stoves can be dangerous. Drop-in stoves can tip over if not properly secured, particularly if someone leans on the door when it is open. To prevent this type of kitchen hazard, verify that your stove is properly secured. Pans not safe for direct heat can shatter if placed directly on the hot cooktop after being removed from the oven. Always use rivets beneath pans when you remove them from the oven, regardless of the surface they are being placed on. Leaving stove burners or under empty pots and pans can be fire hazard. Verify the stovetop is turned off when food is finished cooking. Pots and pans filled with hot food can easily be knocked off if the handles are not situated properly. Always turn handles so they are facing away from the front edge of the stove. Failure to properly clean out the oven can cause fires while cooking. Clean the oven regularly and never leave an oven unattended while in use. Garbage disposals. Garbage disposals are common in many homes, and using them properly can result in injury. Make sure that every member of the household fully understands how to operate disposal safely. Small appliances. Most kitchens house a variety of small appliances, including blenders, mixers, crockpots, toasters, can openers, and others. Here are a few tips to keep in mind. Keep all appliance cords away from the edges of the countertop to avoid catching the cord and knocking the appliance off the counter. Keep small appliances and their power cords away from the sink or other water sources while in use to avoid the shock hazard. Never reach into appliances like mixers and blenders while they're running. Keep the crockpot away from the edge of the counter so children can't accidentally touch it and get burned by the hot outer housing. Knives. Knives are among the most common kitchen hazards, particularly if they are not stored properly. Store your sharpest knives separate from the utensil drawer, either in a knife block or a case. Keep the knife block out of reach of children and put in a safe place where it won't get knocked over. When storing knives in the blocks, be sure that the handles are positioned so that they can be gripped easily. Place the blade of the knife in the block with the sharp side pointing up. This will help preserve the edges as well as make it easy for household members to know what to expect when pulling out a knife. Knife cases should be firmly sealed so that there's no risk of knives accidentally being exposed. Be aware of kitchen hazards. It is a good idea to periodically review how your kitchen is set up so you can make sure that everything is positioned and secured in a safe manner. It's also important to keep a fully charged fire extinguisher and first aid kit handy in the event of a worst case scenario. When you are aware of the most common kitchen hazards, it's possible to take steps to prevent unnecessary injuries and accidents from occurring.